Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering college professor PANICS as ChatGPT falsely claims he assaulted his students. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from USA Today, ChatGPT falsely accused me of sexually harassing my students. Can we really trust AI? And from the Washington Post, ChatGPT invented a sexual harassment scandal and named a real law professor as the accused. Back to USA Today, what is the most striking is that this false accusation was not just generated by AI, but ostensibly based on a Washington Post article that never existed. And this story is about Jonathan Turley. That's this guy. The rapid expansion of artificial intelligence has been much in the news, including the recent call by Elon Musk and more than 1,000 technology leaders and researchers for a pause on AI. Some of us have warned about the danger of political bias in the use of AI systems, including programs like ChatGPT. That bias could even include false accusations, which happened to Jonathan Turley recently. Turley received a curious email from a fellow law professor about research that he ran on ChatGPT about sexual harassment by professors. The program promptly reported that Jonathan Turley had been accused of sexual harassment in a 2018 Washington Post article after groping law students on a trip to Alaska. But the AI response created false accusations and manufactured facts. It was not just a surprise to UCLA professor Eugene Volokh, who conducted the research. It was a surprise to Turley, since he's never gone to Alaska with students. The Post never published such an article, and he's never been accused of sexual harassment or assault by anyone. When first contacted, Turley found the accusation comical. After some reflection, however, it took on a more menacing meaning. Over the years, Turley has come to expect death threats against himself and his family, as well as a continuing effort to have him fired at George Washington University due to his conservative legal opinions. As part of that reality in our age of rage, there's a continual stream of false claims about his history or statements. He long ago stopped responding, since repeating the allegations is enough to taint a writer or academic. AI promises to expand such abuses exponentially. Most critics worked off biased or partisan accounts rather than original sources. When they see any story that advances their narrative, they do not inquire further. What is most striking is that this false information was not just generated by AI, but ostensibly based on a Post article that never existed. Turley's professor friend Volokh made this query of ChatGPT. Quote, whether sexual harassment by professors has been a problem at American law schools, please include at least 5 examples, together with quotes from relevant newspaper articles. The program responded with this as an example. Georgetown University Law Center, Professor Jonathan Turley was accused of sexual harassment by a former student who claimed he made inappropriate comments during a class trip. Quote, the complaint alleges that Turley made sexually suggestive comments and attempted to touch her in a sexual manner during a law school-sponsored trip to Alaska, according to Washington Post, March 21, 2018. There are a number of glaring indicators that the account is false. First, Turley has never taught at Georgetown University. Second, there is no such Washington Post article. Finally, and most important, Turley has never taken students on a trip of any kind in 35 years of teaching, never went to Alaska with any student, and he's never been accused of sexual harassment or assault. In response to Volokh's question, ChatGPT also appears to have manufactured baseless accusations against 2 other law professors. Bias creates flaws in AI programs. So the question is, why would an AI system make up a quote, cite a non-existent article, and reference a false claim? The answer could be because AI and AI algorithms are no less biased and flawed than the people who program them. Recent research has shown ChatGPT's political bias, and while this incident might not be a reflection of such biases, it does show how AI systems can generate their own forms of disinformation with less direct accountability. Despite such problems, some high-profile leaders have pushed for its expanded use. The most chilling involved Microsoft founder and billionaire Bill Gates, who called for the use of artificial intelligence to combat not just digital misinformation, but political polarization. In an interview on a German program, Handelsblatt Disrupt, Gates called for unleashing AI to stop various conspiracy theories and to prevent certain views from being magnified by digital channels. He added that AI can combat political polarization by checking confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency of people to search for or interpret information in a way that confirms their own beliefs. The most obvious explanation for what occurred to Jonathan Turley and the other professors is the algorithmic version of garbage in, garbage out. However, this garbage could be replicated endlessly by AI into a virtual flood on the internet. Bullock at UCLA is exploring one aspect of this danger in how to address AI-driven defamation. If someone is defamed by artificial intelligence, who do you hold accountable for that? What makes defamation illegal in the first place? To prove prima facie defamation, a plaintiff must show 4 things: a false statement purporting to be fact, publication or communication of that statement to a third person, fault amounting to at least negligence, and damages or some harm caused to the reputation of the person or entity who is the subject. But how do you sue an artificial intelligence? Can you sue OpenAI? Can you sue Google or Microsoft? No one has done that yet. There is also a free speech concern over the use of AI systems. Turley recently testified about the Twitter files and growing evidence of the government's comprehensive system of censorship to blacklist sites and citizens. One of those government-funded efforts, called the Global Disinformation Index, blacklisted Bullock's site, describing it as one of the 10 most dangerous disinformation sites. But that site, Reason, is a respected source of information for libertarian and conservative scholars to discuss legal cases and controversies. Faced with objections to censorship efforts, some Democratic leaders have pushed for greater use of algorithmic systems to protect citizens from their own bad choices or to remove views deemed disinformation. In 2021, Senator Elizabeth Warren argued that people were not listening to the right people and experts on COVID-19 vaccines. Instead, they were reading views of skeptics by searching Amazon and finding books by prominent spreaders of misinformation. She called for the use of enlightened algorithms to steer citizens away from bad influencers. Some of these efforts even include accurate stories as disinformation if they undermine government narratives. The use of AI and algorithms can give censorship a false patina of science and objectivity. Even if people can prove, as in Turley's case, that a story is false, companies can blame it on the bot and promise only tweaks to the system. The technology creates a buffer between those who get to frame facts and those who get framed. The programs can even, as in Turley's case, spread the very disinformation that they've been enlisted to combat. From the Washington Post, ChatGPT invented a sexual harassment scandal and named a real law professor as the accused. The AI chatbot can misinterpret key facts with great flourish, even citing a fake Washington Post article as evidence. Jonathan Turley got a troubling email. As part of a research study, a fellow lawyer in California had asked the AI chatbot ChatGPT to generate a list of legal scholars who had sexually harassed someone. Turley's name was on the list. The chatbot, created by OpenAI, said Turley had made sexually suggestive comments and attempted to touch a student while on a class trip to Alaska, citing a March 2018 article in the Washington Post as the source for the information. The problem? No such article existed. There had never been a class trip to Alaska, and Turley said he'd never been accused of harassing a student. A regular commentator in the media, Turley had sometimes asked for corrections in news stories, but this time there was no journalist or editor to call, and no way to correct the record. Quote, "It was quite chilling," he said in an interview with the Post. "An allegation of this kind is incredibly harmful." Turley's experience is a case study in the pitfalls of the latest wave of language bots, which have captured mainstream attention with their ability to write computer code, craft poems, and hold eerily human-like conversations. But this creativity can also be an engine for erroneous claims. The models can misinterpret key facts with great flourish, even fabricating primary sources to back up their claims. As largely unregulated artificial intelligence software such as ChatGPT, Microsoft's Bing, and Google's Gemini begins to be incorporated across the web, its propensity to generate potentially damaging falsehoods raises concerns about the spread of misinformation and novel questions about who's responsible when the chatbots mislead. Quote, "Because these systems respond so confidently, it's very seductive to assume they can do everything, and it's very difficult to tell the difference between facts and falsehoods." According to Kate Crawford, a professor at the University of Southern California at Annenberg and senior principal researcher at Microsoft Research. In a statement, OpenAI spokesperson Nico Felix said, quote, "When users sign up for ChatGPT, we strive to be as transparent as possible, that it may not always generate accurate answers. Improving factual accuracy is a significant focus for us, and we're making progress." Today's AI chatbots work by drawing on vast pools of online content, often scraped from sources such as Wikipedia and Reddit, to stitch together plausible-sounding responses to almost any question. They're trained to identify patterns of words and ideas to stay on topic as they generate sentences, paragraphs, and even whole essays that may resemble material published online. These bots can dazzle when they produce a topical sonnet, explain an advanced physics concept, or generate an engaging lesson plan for teaching 5th graders astronomy. But just because they're good at predicting which words are likely to appear together doesn't mean the resulting sentences are always true. The Princeton University computer science professor, Arvind Narayanan, has called ChatGPT a bull-ass generator. While their responses often sound authoritative, the models lack reliable mechanisms for verifying the things they say. Users have posted numerous examples of the tools fumbling basic factual questions, or even fabricating falsehoods, complete with realistic details and fake citations. Reuters reported that Brian Hood, regional manager of Hepburnshire in Australia, is threatening to file the first defamation lawsuit against OpenAI unless it corrects false claims that he'd served time in prison for bribery. Yeah, that would be something they should correct. Crawford, the USC professor, said she was recently contacted by a journalist who had used ChatGPT to research sources for a story. The bot suggested Crawford and offered examples of her relevant work, including an article title, publication date, and quotes. All of it sounded plausible, and all of it was fake. Crawford dubs these made-up sources hallucinations, a play on the term hallucinations, which describes AI-generated falsehoods and nonsensical speech. Quote, it's that very specific combination of facts and falsehoods that makes these systems, I think, quite perilous if you're trying to use them as fact generators. Microsoft Bing's chatbot and Google's Gemini chatbot both aim to give more factually grounded responses, as the new subscription-only versions of ChatGPT that runs on an updated model called ChatGPT 4. But they all still make notable slip-ups, and all the major chatbots all come with disclaimers, such as Gemini's fine print message below each query. Gemini may display inaccurate or offensive information that doesn't represent Google's views. Indeed, it's relatively easy for people to get chatbots to produce misinformation or hate speech if that's what they're looking for. A study published by the Center for Countering Digital Hate found that researchers induced Gemini to produce wrong or hateful information 78 out of 100 times on topics ranging from the Holocaust to climate change. Eugene Volokh, a law professor at the University of California at Los Angeles, also a friend of Jonathan Turley's, conducted the study that named Turley. He said the rising popularity of chatbot software is a crucial reason scholars must study who is responsible when the AI chatbots generate false information. Volokh asked ChatGPT whether sexual harassment by professors has been a problem in American law schools. 5 responses came back, all with realistic details and source citations. But when Volokh examined them, he said 3 of them appeared to be false. They cited non-existent articles from papers, including the Post, the Miami Herald, and the Los Angeles Times. The Washington Post recreated Volokh's exact query in ChatGPT in Bing. The free version of ChatGPT declined to answer, saying that doing so would violate AI's content policy, which prohibits the dissemination of content that is offensive or harmful. But Microsoft's Bing, which is powered by ChatGPT 4, repeated the false claim about Turley, citing among its sources an op-ed by Turley published by USA Today outlining his experience of being falsely accused by ChatGPT. That's the article we just reviewed here. They made this a source. Katie Asher, Senior Communications Director at Microsoft, said the company is taking steps to ensure search results are safe and accurate. Quote, we've developed a safety system including content filtering, operational monitoring, and abuse detection to provide a safe experience for our users. Users are also provided with an explicit notice that they are interacting with an AI system. But it still remains unclear who is responsible when artificial intelligence generates or spreads inaccurate information. From a legal perspective, quote, we just don't know how judges might rule when someone tries to sue the makers of an AI chatbot over something it says, said Jess Kosif, a professor at the Naval Academy and expert on online speech. We've not had anything like this before. At the dawn of the consumer internet, Congress passed a statute known as Section 230 that shields online services from liability for content that they host that was created by third parties, such as commenters on a website or users of a social app. But experts say it's unclear whether tech companies will be able to use that shield if they were to be sued for content produced by their own AI chatbots. Libel claims have to show that not only something false was said, but also that its publication resulted in real-world harms, such as costly reputational damage. That probably would require someone not only viewing a false claim generated by a chatbot, but also reasonably believing and acting on it. Quote, companies may get a free pass on saying stuff that's false, but not creating enough damage that would warrant a lawsuit, said Shabby Khan, a partner at the law firm Foley & Lardner, who specializes in intellectual property law. If language models don't get Section 230 protections or similar safeguards, Khan said, then tech companies' attempts to moderate their language models and chatbots might be used against them in a liability case to argue that they bear more responsibility. When companies train their models, this is a good statement or this is a bad statement. They might be introducing biases themselves, he added. Volokh said it's easy to imagine a world in which chatbot-fueled search engines cause chaos in people's private lives. It would be harmful, he said, if people search for others in an enhanced search engine before a job interview or date and it generated false information that was backed up by believable but falsely created evidence. Quote, this is going to be the new search engine, Volokh said. The danger is people see something, supposedly a quote from a reputable source, and people believe it. The companies who host and provide chatbots, of course, should be responsible for what their technology does. Companies are responsible for their employees. Companies are responsible for their products and services, and whatever happens with those products and services. While it may not be possible for a company to be responsible for what other people say on their website, artificial intelligence does not have the status of other people. If they're going to reap the rewards of marketing their artificial intelligence and generate God knows how many billions of dollars from utilizing their artificial intelligence, they should also be responsible for the cost of damaging people's lives when they use that artificial intelligence. It is a new area of law. We'll have to watch this one, and I will watch this one on this channel. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.